It's okay. It's a complicated term, but all it really means is running the government like a business. So, but it's a philosophic and an economic model. So it's a way of thinking, but it's also a way of organizing the way money flows. So it's like literally all it does, and as I'm always saying, it privatizes. So it ensures that the billionaire class buys up what used to be public land and public property, and it ensures that they only privately own it. So they control what goes on there, they control who goes in and out. It also means that things are corporatized. So it means that pre-existing organizations that used to be centered around generally, in certain respects, the public good, they were infested, you could say, with a bureaucratic mindset. So it the profit incentive is the main goal. It is also about standardizing everything so it looks the same. Like a McDonald's, like every single McDonald's you ever go in to try to work runs the exact same way. So it's like they copy and paste the idea of the way things work. Again, it's all about making like profit as quickly as possible by implementing a very streamlined way of doing things. And then the last thing is deregulation. And that's another one that I think can be confusing for folks. But all it really means is at, at the beginning, before there were monopolies, what had to be done is they stripped away the regulations that didn't allow billionaires to buy everything up and then own everything. So because of the way that that worked, they removed the regulations that stopped them from monopolizing. And then they monopolized everything and ensured that fewer and fewer whole company owners existed while creating a structure that looks as if there's still as many separate companies, which is why like it often will look like a pyramid when you see like who owns what, because it's like the same like four types of groups of shareholders, but like there's many different seemingly diverse companies all owned by basically the exact same billionaire class. And the regulations, or sorry, the deregulations that were put in place made the workplace significantly less safe for workers, and it made them work longer hours. It worked that, I mean, it obviously deeply exploits the global south, but it also deeply exploits incarcerated people. It exploits non-English speakers. It exploits anyone with less education. It exploits anyone who doesn't speak English as their first language. It exploits anyone that would be deemed like less literate or illiterate. And like it's just all it cares about is making more and more profit for shareholders. So, but on the forefront, what makes it complicated, and this is where liberals hate hearing about neoliberalism, is that what it did is it also was used because a business needs to adapt to a market. Neoliberalism took off at the time when women and Black and brown women in particular were able to work and go to college for the first time. Remember how life-changing that is. It was also the time when they were allowed to open bank accounts and have them in their own name. So what happens is all of these policies, again, for capitalism to introduce cheap labor from these groups of people into the workforce, not because they gave a single fuck about diversity, equity, or inclusion, were implemented. And ever since, because these things were actually very new, they've just been ripped away. And that includes Roe v. Wade, that includes affirmative action, that includes everything that Project 2025 is working so hard to destroy.